Well, good afternoon, everybody. We're really excited to be hosting a Women in Construction panel with 5 of our Lithko coworkers today in celebration of Women in Construction Week. I am Morgan Price, the Talent Director at Lithko Contracting, and I'll be moderating today's session. I've been in the construction industry for about 6 years, and prior to working for Lithko, I worked for a general contractor in the Cincinnati area. Today's panel will consist of around 45 minutes of questions that I will be asking the panel, and we will wrap up the session with audience questions and some raffle drawings. So feel free to submit your questions for the panelists throughout our session. We will have members of our campus recruiting team monitoring the chat. We will also be muting everyone during our session until we open it up for Q&A. I want to thank you for taking the time to tune into today's session. We hope it'll be informative and inspiring. And now I'm going to open it up to our panelists to introduce themselves. So we will go ahead and start with Ryan. Ryan, if you could tell us a little bit about your Lithko career story and what brought you to construction and more specifically concrete construction.
Yeah, so I've been in the industry about 5 years now. When I first was in college, I was doing a different type of engineering, and I did an internship in it, and I didn't love the internship. So I was kind of looking around like, what am I going to do? I was a sophomore, and I actually had a family friend that worked for Lithko that it's like, hey, if you want a shot in concrete, like, let me know. I was like, sure, might as well learn something, right? Like, I had no idea what I was getting myself into. So I interned with Lithko for 3 years, and I just never left. They give you the opportunity to grow quite a bit. So it's not, I don't think I can find a better opportunity somewhere else. I think they give you as much opportunity as you're looking for.
Awesome, thank you. How about Brooke? Introduce yourself.
Hi. Yeah, I'm Brooke. I am out of our Raleighburg. I started here as an administrator, moved back to the area and was looking for a job just to kind of get full time, to be honest. Came across this company through a guy I went to college with, actually, and met the team, came on board, was an administrator for about 1.5 years before I got pregnant with my first little one. Went on maternity leave, came back and was approached as going into campus recruiting for the Southeast. Thrilled about the position, loved it. Travel was fun, met tons of cool people. But then I got pregnant with my second little one, and being out on maternity leave that round, I contemplated, like, what do I really see myself doing the next 5 years? I want to be home a little bit more with my little ones. And so started looking at like maybe what position I can move into, which is what ended me up being an estimator now, which shouldn't be surprising. I come from a background of construction, working alongside my dad. He has a residential concrete business. So kind of fitting that I found myself here and have been here for 6 years now.
Awesome, great. Kim?
Hi, I'm Kim. I'm with our campus team I sent in Cincinnati. I've been in the construction industry professionally for 23 years now. I'm an old goat. Truth be told, I kind of grew up in the industry though. My dad and my grandfather owned a business, so there were lots of take your daughter to work days when we were on summer vacation. So I kind of grew up on job sites, on ladders, hammer in hand, being a hooligan. Decided to pursue architecture as my education, found out I didn't love it. And I really liked having dirty boots. So after I graduated from college, I did finish out with my degree. After I graduated, decided I wanted to go play on this side of the industry. So I spent about 15 years with CMs and GCs as an on-site project manager before I came here to Lithko. I've been here for 8 years now. I've been a project coordinator, territory safety lead, and now I get to do campus. I love it.
Thank you, Kim.
Mm-hmm.
Jaylee?
Hi, I'm Jaylee. I'm out of our Tulsaburg. My career path with Lithko, I started out in the field, very hands-on, tying rebar, setting forms. I found myself looking at Lithko at a job fair where I met Lisa, and she kind of told me about it, and I was like, that's something I want to do. So I found myself here out in the field until I was pregnant, which I left being out in the field when I was like 4 months pregnant, but I wasn't doing any hardcore work like when I was pregnant. So, but I have loved every second of being with Lithko, and being hands-on in the field has been very awesome. And it's really put me to where I'm at now with my career.
Great. Thank you so much. And last but not least, Mara.
Hello, I'm Mara. I'm also from the Raleigh-Burg. So I started my career really early, around 16 years old in construction in Brazil. I chose to go for technical school there already in construction too. So my first job was already working at a company that used to do mapping in Brazil. And I moved to laboratory. So I tested concrete, tested cement, and I thought that was a very interesting material, the concrete, because it's one of the structural elements that you can really have more effects. It's not like the steel, you're just gonna build everything together. And the concrete, I would say, is the element you make more difference, everything that you do to get on the final product. So anyway, I studied engineering in Brazil. From 16 until like 25 years old, I was working always in construction. And then I decided to do an interchange, came to America 5 years ago. And when I came here, I came as a nanny. So I used to take care of kids and live with a family, American family here. And I found the opportunity in construction. I started as project engineer. And because of my experience already from Brazil, that helped me to grow very fast to project manager. But the company I used to work before was a really small company, and I didn't really have more opportunities to grow in my career. So I started looking to other options, and it was already a concrete company. I liked it a lot to work with concrete because it's so much things that you can take care, like a lot of work to do more than just putting the things together. And then I came to Lithko like 4 months ago, and I am being very happy. I feel like the company, they get a lot opportunity to, if you have the ideas, if you want to improve the things where you are working. So I feel very positive.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Well, I appreciate you all sharing your story. We're going to jump to some other questions now. So I'm going to start with Kim and Jay Lee. We'll go Jay Lee first. Talk to us about some advantages you see of being a woman in the construction industry.
Do you want to go first, Kim, or do you want me to go?
Either one. I can go first if you want.
Okay, I'll let you go.
Okay. This is actually a kind of a tough question for me to answer, if I'm being honest. I have a tendency to focus on, I guess, the negatives of my own performance, not necessarily in the industry. So always thinking about what I can do better, what I can do differently. So as I started thinking through this, I actually figured out how to spin a challenge into an advantage for myself. I found from a very early stage of my career that I was often underestimated when I walked into a room for a meeting or a change order negotiation or whatever the case may be. Everyone assumed I knew less because I was a woman. So I figured out after falling on my face one time that if I did the hard work and, I understood their contract forward and backwards, I understood the scope, I understood the condition or whatever the issue was at hand. If I over prepared, I had the upper hand in every situation. It put me in a position of being in control and kind of determining the outcome. So I guess that would be the biggest advantage that I learned throughout my career, was trying to figure out how to spin that negative into a real advantage for myself.
Awesome. Thank you.
Mhm.
Jay Lee?
And to touch on that, like she couldn't explain that better, but if you take her perspective and from the perspective of working hands-on in the field and stuff, it goes into the same aspect as that. You're kind of looked at like a little bit different because you are a female, and they're like, what the heck? Like, what are you doing? But if you show how hard of a worker or how committed you are to it, it puts you at a great advantage of your career.
Awesome. Awesome. Okay. So Mara, how about the challenges that you've faced or you see other women face being in the construction industry?
Yeah, so I wasn't working much at job sites before being a Lithko, and I was very happy to get the opportunity because I think a lot of what really happened is out there, but I would say it is still a mainly men uh, place to work. So I would say disadvantages that I have facing is sometimes, like Kim said, people underestimate what you are capable of, or look to you like, oh, okay, it's just more one woman. I can treat her however I want, and like, so you need to be very decided and consistent on how do you want to be treated wherever you are, especially in construction, because if not, a disadvantage you're gonna have is be like undertreated for coworkers, and that would say it's a disadvantage. Facing this type of situations, my posture was to keep a strong voice out there. So if anybody say something that is not how I wanted to be treated, I let it very clear from the beginning. So I am not gonna accept this treatment. I want to be treated like anybody else is treated here with your respect. And if that's not gonna happen, I'm gonna talk with somebody else here, and this is not gonna stay for it, you know. So I would say that's can be a disadvantage depending on yourself. If you put your voice out there, nobody's gonna try put you down.
Yeah, I agree. Thank you. Brooke, how about you? What are some challenges that you've faced and overcome being in construction?
So I would feed off of what Mara was saying. The fact, of course, it's male dominant. I mean, there's no denying that. It's obvious. It's in our face every day. But with that being said, it's actually an environment that I prefer, to be honest. And it looks a little bit different here in Raleigh, actually, because we actually have 6 females out of this burg alone. We have 5 who are within the office normally at all times. So we pretty much run this place. We make all the calls, but no, on a more serious note, I truly receive nothing but respect when I'm on job sites. People are willing to, reach out and give me information, answer any questions that I have. Maybe because I am a woman, I'll take it to an advantage because I'll take all the help I can get to learn as much as I can. But also too, I want to make note too that I'm seeing more and more women out on job sites every day, every time I do a job walk. So that's, empowering and awesome to see. And I'll just, end it with saying, like, always know your worth and know where you stand in your position. And that just because you're a woman, that doesn't change what you're doing for the company that you work for.
Yeah, that's a great answer.
Sorry, I would like to add the one thing, like from Lithko, I never feel like any kind of disrespect, but when you are out on construction, it's gonna be a lot of other trades. And if you're there every day, I would be lying if I would say everybody never gonna have any situation. But like I said, if you can put your posture from the beginning, that's not gonna be something recurrent.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think another, advantage being a female in construction is we come with a different diverse background, personalities, skill sets when it comes to communication. Oftentimes women are great multitaskers, which you can definitely use to your advantage as well. So I think just highlighting our diverse background, skill sets, and how we see the world can definitely benefit any industry, but specifically construction, where and historically it has been more male dominated. So thank you all for sharing your perspectives on that. And it's been great to see how you've been able to overcome those challenges or use them to your advantage. Okay, so next question. We are gonna talk about the best part of your job or something that makes you proud to work within the construction industry. So Jaylee, I'm gonna go to you first for this one.
Okay.
What makes you proud?
So the best part about my job, I think, is just coming out of school, not knowing anything at all, to going in the field, working hands-on, going home covered every day, looking like trash and mud, concrete. I had rebar rust all over me. It's just, it sounds like, wow, why would you like to do that? It's really a pat on the back when you push yourself to keep learning and keep working hard, to keep moving forward, to be better at what you want to do. And that's something that has always made me proud. Is it was hard at first, and I pushed myself through it, and I'm proud of myself because I love it. It was probably the best experience I ever had.
Awesome, thank you. Kim, how about you?
There's a lot that I love about my job. But kind of thinking back to those big things that are a real reward for me. I had a lot of people along the way throughout my career that really helped me to find success and to create opportunities for me. So now I'm in a position where I get to help people get their start. And so watching people who start as an intern, like Ryan, for example, and move through all the different stages of their career, hit milestones in their personal lives, it's like I'm their role model. It's pretty awesome. Seeing people take those leaps forward and find success, that is an absolute reward for me. And it's really what has me passionate about what I do.
Great. Okay. So Ryan, talk to me a little bit, how do your friends or family feel about you working in construction? Were they shocked when you said that that was the career you were going to pursue out of college? Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so I actually went to my sister the other day and posed this question to her, and I was talking about it to her, and she's like, wait, your second internship, you were out in the field swinging a hammer? And for me, I was like, yeah, of course I was. Like, what else do you think I did? And that was probably the first time someone in my family's actually been like, oh, I didn't realize that's what you did for a little bit. But outside of that, I mean, my friends and family, they're pretty cool. I've never felt that it's a male dominated industry, but no one's ever been like, that's weird that you're doing that. If anything, I think they're proud of me for stepping outside of not just my comfort zone, but a lot of women's comfort zones. But I get this question. I've had this question a few other times where people are like, do people make fun of you for being in construction? And that's not the case at all. People are pretty cool about it. Really, they're just interested. They might be shocked that you wear a hard hat, but it's just part of the uniform. So
yeah, awesome. Thank you. And I know for me, when I joined construction, a lot of people just needed some education on all of the different careers you could take in construction. I've worn a hard hat, but that's only doing job site visits. And I've been able to kind of work my way through more of a talent recruiting and HR aspect. We have people, that are in accounting roles and finance roles, and obviously everyone out in the field. So it's a very lucrative business to be in, no matter what you want to do, and a very exciting one as well. So Mara, how about you? What do your friends and family think about you being in the construction industry?
My family, especially, they are very proud of me because it's something that I started really early, and I never give up. I never change or work on any other area. I love it. And for my family, especially my parents, knowing that I came from Brazil and I came this long way and I am where I am. Yeah, they are finally happy and proud for me. Friends, they are a little confused when I say I work in construction, but just like you said, it's you need to educate them, explain. They seem like they never understand very well, but I feel like it's more who work in construction really knows what we are talking about. It's a whole other world.
Yeah, great. Okay. So let's talk about memorable moments in our career. Brooke, can you think of a moment in particular, or moments in your career that, you know, have stuck with you?
Sure, yeah. So going out on job site visits when I was on the campus recruiting role, I used to walk around and be like, man, like I really want to know what it takes to just build these jobs and be a part of that side of it. It wasn't long after that I switched over into estimating, as I mentioned before. But mind you, I never went to school for construction, so this was all brand new for me. But I had great mentors along the way, those that pushed me to learn and like really ask questions and make my development my own, really own it. And if there was extra things I wanted to do to go see more, do those things. Don't be afraid to do that. Lithko like is very good about supporting that and actually encourages you to own your own development. But all that to say, when I landed my first job as an estimator, that was probably like my most memorable moment for my career thus far.
And I'm going to ask kind of a follow-up, Brooke, you know, doing something that is so new to you, estimating, do you feel like, I know you had great mentors along the way, but is there, you know, advice or things that kind of made you successful taking on something that was so new to you?
I will say, honestly, the thing that made me so like this job specifically, like I'm not shy. I'm not afraid to ask questions. So even if I thought I was bugging people, I didn't care. I wanted to learn. I needed to do it the right way. They had me starting doing takeoffs from paper. Now we use a software that makes it very, very easy normally, but they literally had me start from scratch and do paper takeoffs, which was probably the most beneficial thing I could have ever done to be able to be successful at my job. But really it's just to not be afraid to ask those questions. Show up early if you need to show up early. Get out to the job site to meet with your mentor beforehand, all those things. Those are the things that really stand out to me as being able to be more successful faster at what I was doing.
Thank you. That's helpful. Ryan, what about you? Memorable moments in your career that you want to talk about?
Yeah, I have a bunch. So I guess earlier I didn't say, so I'm a project coordinator currently at Lithko. And I've been full-time, I guess 3 years now. But so starting off by saying that is, I just like, I guess some of the girls here, I knew nothing about construction, knew nothing about concrete. And by my second year in, my boss came to me, he's like, hey, do you want to build a stadium? I was like, heck yeah, I want to build a stadium. Like my siblings are gonna think I'm so cool. Because the warehouses weren't doing it for them. So, but anyways, the stadium's done. So I'm in Cincinnati, Berg. So we built the FC soccer stadium, and I can drive by it now, and you better believe I tell everyone I see, like, I did that. Like my guys were out there, like my name's written on some beam out there. But it's pretty cool, like to see something that you put so much work into. I hadn't pulled an all-nighter probably since college, and I had a couple all-nighters on the job. So it was hard. It's a lot of work. And having it done, you're like, wow, that's awesome. Like women don't say it enough to be like, to pride themselves or talk about themselves as something great that they've done. And it's pretty freaking cool. So that's probably one of my most memorable deals currently. And more to come, I guess.
Yeah. Okay. Well, we're going to open up the next two questions to the whole panel. And I'll just kind of name you as we go and you can answer these. But first question would be, what advice would you give someone entering the construction industry? And we will start with Kim.
Oh, that's a good one, because I've got all kinds of little nuggets of sage wisdom I could impart upon you guys. It's been a minute that I've been doing this, but I would say the biggest one for me would be don't allow others to place limitations on you. Only you get to decide what your future looks like, and only you get to decide what your finish line looks like. So there are going to be people who want to become a hurdle to say, this is as far as you're going to get. You're a girl. You know, you can't do that. But that's a bunch of baloney. Truth is, we are changing this industry. So don't be afraid to say no. That's not enough for me, and push past and define your limits, or don't have them.
Love that. Mara, what about you?
Yeah, I would say the same. It's kind of hard question, but really don't let nobody tell you that you are not capable of doing something. If maybe you might not be sure if you can do also, but if you want bad enough, just go for it. Try learn, like Brooke said. If you have questions, ask. I feel like at all my past jobs, because I worked so much in construction, I can really say you're not gonna learn everything in school. Even who went into school, most part of what they are doing today, they really never learned that in school. So go and ask, Google, look for books, class. There is many ways you can find to learn whatever you need to learn to be where you want it to be. And if there's somebody doing what you wanted to do, ask this person. Maybe this person can be a mentor for you too. So just believe on yourself and get where you want it to be. This place is reserved for you guys, girls.
Thanks, Mara. Yeah, I think continuous
Yeah.
education and focusing on what you can learn on the job, but even outside of the job is really important. I know we'll answer it later in the chat. I saw one come through around associations people are involved in. So we'll talk about that here in a few, but I think that's another great way to continue to learn from other women in the industry. And oftentimes they put on events. So we'll talk about that here soon. Jaylee, do you have any advice for individuals that are pursuing the construction industry?
Yeah, just always keep your head up. Do not back down or set your limitations low. Just go out there, kick some butt and work hard, and do not let anyone knock you down. You just always keep pushing.
Great. How about you, Brooke?
Mine would be to always be yourself. You know, work can get hard. Like Ryan was saying, the hours can be long. Don't lose yourself in the work. You know, always find those times of the day where you can show your personality. We're much more fun than boys can be. So I'm like a very loud person, and it's known around this office and so kind of getting to be known around the company also. And they're always yelling at me to be quiet and like, Brooke, be quiet this. And I don't. I run around the hallways, I act a fool, I have fun. I still am who I am, but I get the work done too. So just always be yourself. Don't lose that in the work. And I would also say don't be afraid to ask the hard questions for the things that you want, like out of your career, working with the company, anything. Don't be afraid to ask those questions.
Awesome. Ryan, what about you?
Okay, so I had two, but now I have three because Brooke made me think of it. Sorry. In Cincinnati, we always say like, we don't take ourselves seriously, but we take our work really seriously. So I think that's something just to remember, that, like she was saying, like you have fun, like it's a like Lithko's a family essentially. Like there are some people you see every day, all day, right? But we also take our work very seriously. Piggybacking off some of the others, I think probably one of the best things I did as an intern, and probably one of the most annoying things I might have done as an intern, was constantly be asking questions, not knowing anything. I was like, all right, so what's that do? And why do you do it that way and not this way? And someone would be like, and it's, you would think that people would be rude towards it, but most people were really excited to teach me something. A lot of these guys and soon to be girls have been doing this for 20, 30, 40 years. And they really just want to teach someone underneath them that, hey, they've done this so long, they're good at it. And then my last thing is you got to be tough, thick-skinned. Whether you're a boy or a girl in the industry, sometimes it's a little rough, but like everyone else is saying, don't let it get you down.
Great. Those were awesome answers, everybody. I think all very important and great to instill in people that are looking to pursue a career anywhere, but especially in construction. So thanks for sharing that. My last question for you all, and we'll actually open it up a little early for audience questions because I've seen a lot of fabulous ones come through. So I'm excited about those as well. Is what comes next for you? So looking at your career, your life in the next 5 or so years, you know, what are you progressing towards? And since I ended with Ryan, I'll start with you. What comes next?
So for me, my next steps is, so currently I'm a project coordinator at Lithko. I've been in probably a transition for the past year with it kind of mapped out with my bosses for the past 2 years to move into a pre-construction lead role. So I'll be finding all the work and I'll be filtering through that work and making sure all my guys have all my teams have jobs coming up after their current job's over. So it's kind of a big step to move into. I'm really excited about it. It's a lot of like business development too, and I like meeting new people. And then personally, for Kim, I'm getting married in later this year. I'm very excited about it. I hope everyone enjoys getting married, but it's been a pain in the butt. I'd rather work 80 hours a week. So, but yeah, that's my next. I guess that's my next year. Next 5 years, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see how this role goes, and if I want to keep moving up. And it's been opened up to me. If I want to do something else and move around in the roles, I can do that. So wherever I feel like.
From the
Yeah.
moment we hired you, we all said we were going to end up working for you someday. So I'd say you're on a blistering path towards that.
Oh, I have fun. That's why I haven't left. You guys are great.
Kim, how about you? What comes next?
Oh, again, another tough question because there's so much opportunity here. It's like you raise your hand and say, I want to do this next. And suddenly there's, a path to move forward. But, I spent probably 20 years building buildings, but now I get to build people. And I know it sounds really hokey and cliche, but it is so exciting to know that I'm having a part in building our next layer of leadership, our next generation of awesome heavy hitters in this company, people like Ryan. That I'm loving what I'm doing, so I don't see it changing too soon. But
Good answer.
thanks.
Brooke, what about you?
I definitely see myself sticking around in estimating for a little bit longer. I've only been in this position for right around 2 years now. And then I want to continue to see like the project execution side of our company, and like along with that, what comes with being a project coordinator and potentially being out on job site one day. My oldest is turning 5, so she starts kindergarten this year. So continuing to be a part of mom for them, doing dance and gymnastics and all the fun things. But when they get a little bit older, maybe being able to be on the job site, I see myself enjoying that a lot.
Awesome. Thank you. Mara, how about you?
I just got here, so I'm still learning about all the opportunities that are out there. I like a lot looking for what can be improved. And since I started, I participate on some of the one of the quarterly meeting. And one thing that I got very interested is on helping the crafty people on growing on their career. So I am currently together with a little group working on a new project on that, together with the project coordinator. That is my current position right now. So I'm probably gonna stick with a project coordinator for a couple of years, and 5 years from now, I don't really know where this project for helping the crafty people is gonna go, and we'll see. I'm not really sure yet.
Okay, last but not least, Jaylee.
So what comes for me next, or where I see myself, is I want to continue down the path that I am, which is a PC, which is a whole new role for me since I came back from my maternity leave. But I see myself just really learning and growing and just taking all the knowledge I can from all these guys in this office that have so much experience doing this. And I just want to take that and see where it gets me in the next 5 years.
Great. Great. Well, thank you all for sharing your perspective on your career thus far in construction and with Lithko. I think there was a lot of great insights you share. I know I learned from each of you, so I really appreciate that. I think we're going to open it up to audience questions. So we'll have Jessica, who is on our campus recruitment team, start asking some of those questions, and then anyone that wants to jump in to answer those, feel free. So Jessica, if you want to kick us off.
Yeah. So, Ryan and Morgan, I know both of you have been kind of involved with a lot of different associations. And of course, anyone else can jump in. I just know from personal experience that you all have. So, are there any associations that you all recommend joining that have helped you meet other women in construction?
Ryan, I'll let you talk about this one since you're heading to an event.
Yeah.
for this one.
Going at right after this. So yeah, I'm sorry, my dog's best friend's outside and he's really excited. And I work from home. Bless everyone that's done that because this is ridiculous. So I'm involved with quite a bit right now. There's NAWIC, so that's women in construction. I would highly recommend joining one of the, what are they called? One of the chapters. Morgan and I are in the one in Cincinnati. And it's a great way just to get out. Like this afternoon, we're going to a winery, I guess, or a bar. We'll have some drinks with some people. But other than that, Cincinnati actually started, and I think there's other chapters around the country through ABC. It's called Logic. So it's essentially women who are CEOs or high execs in the construction field, and they mentor younger girls that are just getting into it, right? So I joined that this past year. And from there, I've met quite a bit of general contractors, there's roofers, there all kinds of different contractors coming in. That's a good one. And then two other ones we have in Cincinnati, which I'm sure there's everywhere else. So there's ACI for American Concrete, and then there's ACI, a different ACI all completely. But I guess whatever your niche is, so like ACI, the concrete one, it's a lot more learning, where within the ACI, what we ended up doing is coming up with a young professionals group. So it's everyone under 35. We have like social events, and it's really just a network, because our whole job, yes, it's building things, but I'll tell you that it's all about who you know, networking, having relationships and building relationships with people. So those are kind of the main ones I'm involved in and would recommend too. If you need the website, just let me know. I can shoot it over.
Yeah, and I would say unrelated to construction, but just general networking and building relationships. It always helps getting involved in volunteering efforts. You can meet, people from different companies. Some of them might be general contractors. Some of them could be owners. Like we do a lot of healthcare work there. So it never hurts to network with anyone and to give back to your communities. You will likely meet people doing that. So Ryan, thanks for sharing the more specific ones to construction. There's definitely a lot of ways to get involved.
Yeah.
So again, anyone can answer this, but specifically I wanted to ask Mara and Brooke, how do you all balance your work, your family life, and any free time that you all have?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I'll go first, sure. So I'll be honest, a little bit of a different schedule being in the office versus being on a job site, which is why I mentioned, waiting till my kids potentially get a little bit older before I see myself being out on a job site. They start a little bit earlier than 8 o'clock when we're here in the office, but there's some nights where I'm running out here at 4:45 to go get those kids changed and take the dance class. And then there's some nights where I'm here till 5:45 trying to finish up something and get home. It's nice because you're given the stuff, and if there's work I need to catch up on, it's after I've done everything with them for the evening, spent time with them, and they go to bed. Lithko is really great about knowing that you're working while you're at work, but also that you have a family to get home to. So when there's things you have to leave early for or go do, like there's no questions asked. Time away to be spent with family is just as important to other people as it is to myself. So that's respected, and I appreciate that. And I would say that's one of honestly, the most rewarding things about working here for myself is how great they are about understanding that I have kids and allowing me to be the mom that I want to be.
Very good. Yeah, I have a new, not new baby anymore. He's 9 months already. And The company I used to work before, we have a very strict time. So I used to suffer a little bit with that because if there was couple minutes delay or if I need to do something, I always need to a lot of explanation. And I don't really have much of that at Lithko. I'm really enjoying that because I will work some days later. I will have some Saturday that I need to work. But in the other hand, I have some flexibility too. So if there is something that I need to do that I need that time off, there is no questions asking, nobody be doing any faces for me because I need to take my personal time. And working out on the side have the benefits that some rain days when the weather is really bad, there's not really much of work to do on site. So I can stay home, work from home and enjoy my free time with my baby and my family. So
So it sounds like what y'all are saying is like whenever you're at work and you're working. And that's what you're doing.
exactly.
But whenever
Yeah,
you're
and
at
that
home,
too, like just knowing that we do what it takes to get our job done, but we also have the freedom to be able to be with family. So
Yeah, flexibility because not all company can give you that. Some companies like you need to be do your time like your 8 hours there. You can never if you need to leave you early or take time for yourself. So I feel like you can work more, but in the same time you can take some flexibility for what you need to do on your personal life too.
from planning weddings to taking care of kids.
Should have paid someone to
Um,
do that for me.
really don't miss doing that at all.
So Kim, this is one for you. So we have a student who said that she's accepted a full-time offer with a GC who's currently all male. And the only women in the company are in administration. And so she said, do you have any advice for me learning how to fit in with the older men in the company specifically? Because she'll be the youngest person by probably about 10 years.
Congratulations on being a trailblazer. I'm proud of you.
Mm-hmm.
It can be absolutely a very daunting task. But I think what we have found consistently in this industry is that there are so many people that have so much knowledge and all they want to do is share it. So ask questions, engage with those people, reach out to them to say, hey, you've been doing this for a while and I'm really eager to learn. What can you tell me about X, Y, and Z? I don't think anyone's going to look at you and say, you should have learned that in school. Because we all know that school can only do so much to prepare you for the industry. We have an obligation really as employers to take you guys to the next step, to get you where you need to be so that you can be effective in your role. And I would be very surprised if you found that they were unwilling to help you get there. So ask those questions, engage with those people, and show them that you want to learn, that you want to be just as good as they are. You just want the shortened version. You don't want to have to follow in their footsteps of 20 years of mistakes to figure out how to get to where they are today. And they want to help you get there faster too.
So Jaylee and Ryan, how are your transitions kind of coming out of college and then it's starting your career?
So how has it been since from college to now? I will say I feel like I learned a whole lot more than I did in college to be in the career that I am now, and just being out in the field. I probably would have been better off just coming to Lithko, signing up as a laborer, and then just growing from there. But no, school does teach you a lot, and it's really awesome the experience you get with all the learning and all the mentors that you have within this company. It's truly amazing, and I really love the transition that I have had within this company.
Yeah, I think one of the things that sets Lithko apart from a lot of the other companies in this industry is the in-depth integrations program that we go through. So like I said, I did 3 co-ops with Lithko. My first co-op was literally me just reading drawings and trying to understand what concrete was. So it was a huge learning curve, just gathering as much information as I could. My second internship, I was like, these drawings are great, but I really don't understand what's going on. So we talked and I ended up going out into the field for an internship, which if any of you are joining the construction industry, I would push you to go out in the field for a couple years. You learn more out there than you'll ever learn from a drawing that's sitting in front of you. Not only just doing the work, but also by talking to the people out there. And then after my second internship, I sat down with Kim and then our area lead at the time. And I was like, all right, what I really, really want to do is I want to run a job. I want to project coordinate a job. I have all these parts and pieces that you guys have taught me these past 2 years. And I want to basically make it a whole. I want to see the big picture. And really, I came back the next year and sure enough, they had a job sitting there for me. They're like, here's your subcontractors, give them a call. Here's the budget, set it up, obviously helping me through it. But I ran a job that summer. So I think the integration program at Lithko is leaps and bounds ahead of anything I've heard from other people. I mean, who gives a intern a job to run? And like, just gotta say, it made money. So we did a good job. And the guys in the field, I'm pretty sure I didn't know half the stuff that was going on. But then moving into actually working my first year, I'd already had a job under my belt, which was nice. So it made the transition from college to working full time easier for sure.
Brooke, what would someone need to do to become or learn or know in order to become a senior estimator?
Oh, I don't even know if I can answer that one, to be honest. I am still learning a ton as it is. I'm 2 years in, like I said, and there is still so much to learn. Every time I take off a different job, I learn something different. Like these tank foundations that I'm taking off right now, I'm like, what in the world is this? I would say, excuse me, just practice and building relationships are two big ones for me. Excuse me. And as far as it's all going to depend on too, like if you're doing an estimate, it could look completely different if you're working for a GC versus someone like our company where it's just concrete. So I'm nowhere near a senior estimator, so I don't know if I can totally answer that, like I said, but practice, consistency, asking the right questions, really diving into things, making sure you do know what you're looking at if you don't know what you're looking at. And I, again, think it's really important to build relationships. So that's go to say with our subs, with our vendors, with our clients, all of them. I have a reputation of being the one to like to call people. So that's kind of what I've pushed myself to get more exposure with. So.
Nice. Kim, you looked like you were going to say something. Do you have any other thoughts on that?
Oh, no.
Okay.
Brooke did a great job. I'm sure Ryan could probably add more than I could.
Yeah.
No, that's really it. We have a whole pre-construction process. If you guys ever want to dive deep and give me or Kim a call, because we love it. But the only thing I think I would add to it is, especially for our jobs, so yes, I can do a takeoff. I can basically get all my sub prices together, and I can have a complete takeoff, complete estimate. But sometimes I don't have the experience that these guys in the field have, and I'll sit down with our ops tier and I'll say, all right, I have this many linear feet of wall, it's this tall, this thick, this much rebar in it. How long is it going to take you and how many guys? I think that's a big part of knowing your labor production, because I can spit something out, but that doesn't mean I can do averages of what I think a wall was going to take to build. But really what it comes down to is those guys being like, all right, let me plan this out as if I was doing the job and then come up with the productions. But other than that I'd say that Brooke picked up the rest of it.
Oh yeah, but your part is a very big part of it. So.
Yeah.
Knowing how to build the jobs, even though I don't build them, we make the schedule and everything for it beforehand so that we can see how long it would take and timeline and everything like that. So like I said, getting out, like everyone's mentioned, getting out there and seeing how it's actually built so that you can truly have a total understanding of what the timing is of things. Because again, even though we're not actually out there building it, we're creating that timeline of how long it's going to take to build it when we do bid the job.
Yeah, and seeing all kinds of different projects too, right? Like you can see warehouse after warehouse, and at some point you know your productions for warehouses, you know how much it should cost, but then all of a sudden you get a parking garage, with a podium on top of it. There's so many different phases of work different pieces of work that like Lithko does, that you can't just put it all in like a bubble and be like, all right, you spent 3 weeks on an estimate, you're good. You're good for the rest of the time you see a parking garage. It's completely different from job to job. And just having all of those different back checks that you've done one in the past, you know what it should look like. I think is a big part of it as well.
So a couple of people,
Sorry.
no, go ahead.
I was just going to say, I think what you both just talked about is really a good demonstration of how we operate as a whole here. It's a continuing education, no matter how far along you are in your career, and there are always so many resources to you. It's just part of who we are, that we're always wanting to work together as a team to push all of us forward. So I think you're both doing great.
And I think what we talked about earlier about like women in construction, like an important thing is like building each other up and helping each other out. And like, I think that's how we operate within Lithko, but also how we can operate like as a whole, you know, of like meeting other women in construction and building those relationships and networking and that kind of thing. So seeing it in action. So we've had a couple of people ask either how we get the younger generation, or someone specifically said like, my daughter wants to get into construction. Like what are recommendations? What are, you know, how do we do this from a young age, not maybe just college students, but even younger? I don't have a specific person for this. So if anyone has ideas, jump in.
I'll start real fast. I did a panel the other day that was to Girl Scouts that were like 5 years old. And I'm sure they heard nothing that we said other than we like to get dirty. And they were all like, woo, like that's us. So if Girl Scouts are already getting girls in that young of an age, that's awesome. Like just to show to them that they built a birdhouse that day, and just to be like, all right, well, they glued things together, but still like getting your hands dirty, kind of getting in the mindset of building something, and it's cool. It's not just boys, girls can do it too.
I grew up in a household where it didn't really matter that I was a girl. I mean, there was no preconceived notion of Kim needs Barbies and princess outfits. I was daddy's girl. So I was always on job sites. I had my own little toolbox. I got to tinker in the garage and help work on cars. It was whatever I was interested in doing. There was a constant push to go learn more, go pursue more. So I think if we can help to make those to the young ladies out there in the world, if you're going to a birthday party, don't get her a Barbie, maybe get her a Lego set. You know, anything that we can do to kind of foster that creativity and take away the idea that there are roles that are specific by gender. I think that's going to do the world a whole lot of good.
And as a parent, just take them out and do things. Take them out to, I don't know, go on hikes and go do things that's outside. And I think that makes a big difference too.
Yep. I know there are some, probably some of the organizations that you listed off, Ryan, have programs that do outreach to not just high schools, but all the way down to elementary level to introduce construction as a pathway to kids of every age, every gender, just to open up that door as a possibility and to kind of let them know that there are all kinds of fun things that you can do with these life-size Tonka toys as a career. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, NAWIC has a big event, I believe, is it end of March or April? They have something for kids. And then also there's a bunch of trade schools too. Trade schools are great, and it's a different way of learning, and college just isn't for everyone. And it's a definitely something. I don't think if like your kid came to you and said, hey, what do you think about this? Don't shun it. Like give them like a bunch of money through trade school.
Yep.
That's awesome. So we only have 3 minutes left. We have a bunch of questions left. So I'm sad we're not going to be able to get to them all. But to kind of wrap up, I would love to hear, we had someone in the audience ask how like men or other allies can make, things better for women in construction.
Brooke.
I don't make things better for women in construction.
They can treat us like
Mom, I
equals.
am. That's what I was thinking. How it betters me. I mean, it definitely allows me to. I'm nothing short of being myself in here, and the banter and stuff is fun. But I don't know if that really betters myself. But I don't know.
I would say it's starting with just the pure acknowledgement that it's not a level playing field is a huge step in the right direction. Knowing that your counterparts, be it female or male, deserves the opportunity and to be heard.
I would say, sometimes as a female and as females are working their way up through leadership, we may not always be in the room. So sometimes it's just having a voice in the room when you're not quite in the room yet. So some of that's on us to look out for mentors and advocates, and it has to be a mutual relationship. You got to benefit the relationship as well and work towards it. But I think just having allies that will speak up on women's behalf is a huge impact as well. And yes, Kim, I think that starting out with, yes, things aren't always equal is the first best step.
Thank you for asking that question.
That was hard.
Good on you.
Yeah, I like your point, Morgan, about like even just looking around, like, who's at the table, who's not at the table. I think, even think, and I know I'm not on the panel, but thinking, whether you're, whenever you start to get in those leadership roles, like who's in the pipeline below me, who's, coming up. And, if there are women in leadership, or if there aren't women in leadership, like, are there women who are on the next, steps to kind of get into that role? Because you can't have women, CEOs and presidents if you don't have directors and vice presidents, and you have to have that pipeline ready. So be sure to be looking not only for mentors but people to mentee.
Yeah, and the other thing I would add is some of the language that we all use. I mean, we say you guys, and like that's second nature for us, but when we talk about journeyman, or some of the language in construction is just going to be more male oriented, which will take a little while for that to change. But I think that's also a place to start looking at, or some of the language we use around who's a successful person within construction. Women may look a little different. So I think everyone can be driven, but you hear they're hard-headed, or they're going to push the envelope, whereas women, like we talked about before, which can be an advantage to us, just have different personality styles or communication. So just changing how we talk about success and what that actually can and should look like.
All right, well, we're over time. We have 3 gift card winners. So Stephanie, Eusebia, and Cole. So I've messaged them to get their, so thanks for all your amazing questions. I have a couple of questions that I'm going to put in an email to our panel, and I'll email out those answers just because I think that they were some good questions that I'm sorry we didn't get to, but
yeah. Well, thank you all for coming. This was fabulous. I really appreciate you taking your evening and spending it with Lithko. And I hope you all learned something from this conversation. Again, if you have any follow-up questions for anyone on the panel or about Lithko specifically, I believe you have contact information, maybe Jessica's, or you can reach out via handshake, and definitely keep in touch with us. So thank you, and have a great rest of your Women in Construction Week and a great weekend.
Bye.